Hi everybody, this is Debbie from Teacher Success Coach. I hope that you guys are well on this Tuesday evening and that you are celebrating life and demonstrating gratitude for where you are, not where you feel that you ought to be, but where you are. Right, I'm in a school right now that is interesting, to say the least. One of the things that one of the groups I'm teaching, three groups, year 10, year 12 and year 13. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely school. However, as educators, there's sometimes we need to meet students where they are. By that I mean wherever the students are, you meet them, because some students might demonstrate disruptive behavior in the classroom, and as a teacher you tend to tell them be quiet and repeat, be the broken record, and constantly say, come on guys. That's what I've been doing for the last, because I've started this school what month? January, right? As I say, it's a lovely school, and my year 13, their behavior is that some of the behavior is like a year 7, 8. And I find myself in the last 2 weeks constantly saying to them, come on, guys, you need to settle, you need to behave. And I'm getting that negative behavior. A small group of 12, year 13, sociology group. So, which means the next step is university. But I feel, as I said, as if I'm teaching the younger years, because the disruption, and it's just a constant, and I'm constantly saying, oh, come on guys, why is it I feel as if I'm teaching year 7, 8, 9 and not year 13? I say, you guys meant to be role model, etc., etc., etc. And the balance, as usual in a sociology class, they're normally more females than the males. Normally you might have 2 males in a class of 15. But this class there's a class of 12. I've got 4 males. And in sociology, one of the research that have been done, the male take up a lot of the teacher's time, because it's like constant disruption and you're constantly saying, stop talking, behave yourself, get on task. And I could actually see the experiment playing out in my lesson. Anyway, today I say too, because I've been observing one of the students for the last 2 weeks, because it's like his behavior, he's disrupting the other one, etc. I've got one student that's super, super, super bright. And initially I thought to myself, maybe the work was a little bit too easy for him, but it's not, because I've been monitoring that. And what I think happened is it appears as if he is the youngest in a group of siblings. That's my observation from a psychology perspective. I need to, sound that out tomorrow. And as a result of that, always fighting for a position and always fighting to have a say. And I'm saying to him, pause. You don't need to fight, I'm asking you, so this is your time to say what you have to say. But it's like he wants to constantly dominate the class. So when he puts his hand up, I say to him, okay, I see your hand up. Thank you very much for that, but I need to take someone else who I have not held spoken yet. So that's one of the ways I'm dealing with that, right? Another one is like constantly just giggling. The slightest thing. One student says something, and it's like childish giggle. So, and the third one, there's a fourth one, but today he seems to trying to get a position, and I had to actually stamp that down. The other one is when I ask a question, actually directed a question to him today, because I start, targeting students in terms of question. And I gave them some work to do yesterday on global crime. and I asked them to summarize. It was an article I got from one of the psychology journal, and I want, because it's a very up-to-date article, I wanted them to, engage in it, etc. And when I asked that, when I tagged the question, I asked that particular student, he said to me he didn't know. I said, thank you very much for being honest. However, I gave you guys that to prepare, so you had to reread it, although we read it in class, so you had to reread it and then summarize it. So did you not do it? He said, yes, he did it. Well, that's what alarm bells in my head, because if you've done it, you should have a vague idea, right? So what I did was, two of them I asked to stay back. Mr. Giggle constantly, and the other one I felt that he told me he didn't know what, when I asked him for the answer, and I clock on, because he's constantly disrupting as well, and this bravado attitude. So I realized that this student is lost. So I spoke to them on a one-to-one basis. One of them said to me, oh, Miss, initially he said to me, oh, Miss, I don't feel that you praise me enough. I said, really? I said, okay, you need to tell me how you feel that I need to praise you more. I said, because I'm not too sure how I could do that, because anytime you all say something, I do say, well done, and let's celebrate. So I'm not too sure how much, how you would like me to praise you more. And then he said to me, oh, Miss, I'm only joking. I said, the fact that you've said that as a false thought, obviously you feel that I am not acknowledging you enough. And then he said, yes, Miss, you're acknowledging me enough, but I don't feel that the class is acknowledging. I said, but what do you want the class to do? I said, because it's not the class to acknowledge you, it's me as the teacher to acknowledge you, because the class may not connect with what you're saying, because they may not know what you're saying, in terms of they may not have understood what you're saying. So I'm the one to say to the class, have you guys connected? And yes, let's celebrate. And I say, I'm doing that. I also feel that because I pull him up, he wasn't too sure, he wasn't too sure what I was going to pull him up on. And I said to him, okay, I want you to go away and come back when I see you on Thursday to tell me how you want me to acknowledge you more and praise you more. I said, that's the task for today. So you need to go away with that and come back to me. The other students that told me he didn't know what I've told him, when I asked him the question, he said he didn't know. And I said to him, thank you for being honest. I had an honest conversation with him, because I realized this student, is struggling. And because he constantly be disruptive in session, he was always being told off, and nobody seems to have identified there's an issue behind that behavior. So I said to him, I said, it's bigger than what you demonstrate in the class. I say, your negative behavior is not a negative behavior. It's a cry for help. He looked at me. I thought he was going to cry, actually. He looked at me and he said, yes, miss. I said, but I'm trying to meet you where you are, so you need to meet me halfway as well. And I have taught global crime, and when I check in, I realize that you did not understand it. But you don't want to come to me to ask, because it's this macho thing. Because you feel that if you put your hand up and you say you don't know, you feel that the others in the class is going to say something. So I had to reassure him that, no, they're not going to say anything, because have a look. When the female in the class don't know, they will say to me, Miss, this doesn't make sense. I don't understand. So that's what I want you to also do. So I had said to him that I have a number of schedule revision session. So I want him to come to those sessions. Nobody doesn't need to know why he's coming to me. I say you could also, if they ask you any question, you could say you haven't been doing your homework. So Mrs. picking up on that. But teachers, what I want to say to you, there's sometimes when we are seeing this negative behavior playing out in our classroom, it is not the behavior that is the demonstration, it's the cry for help. So we need to be able to identify what is under those negative behavior or this disruptive behavior we're seeing from students, especially students that are doing the A-levels, right? It's also being played out in the younger years as well, but more so the older students who we have expectation of their behavior, and we expect them to behave a certain way. We expect them to be role models, etc. But we also need to realize that they also have needs. And this behavior is a cry for help, that's saying, oh, I need some help, but I don't know how to ask for it. I don't know how to navigate it. And I don't want to be seen as not as bright as the rest of my peers. And I don't want them to pick on me, or I don't want them to know that I don't know. So educators, what we need to do is identify this under this behavior. It's more than just what we see as the behavior. It's the cry for help, but don't know how to ask for the help because of fear of how the other students might see them, or how the teacher themselves might see them, right? So those are the things we need to look at, the underlying factor that these students are demonstrating. So those behavior that we see in educators is not just the negative behavior. We need to see what's under those behavior. So after I finished speaking to that student, I said to him, I'm seeing you on Thursday, and I want you to tell me what you want me to help you with and how you want me to help you. I say you may not know the how, but I want you to find the what. Because there's sometimes students don't know how they want us to help them. But as long as they find out what they need the help on, we as teachers would find the how. Right? So educators, that's what I want you guys to look at. Because the behavior is not the behavior. We need to dig deep to find the causal factor, which the students are afraid to talk about. So those are two things I want us to look at. Anyway, guys, I'll bring daily things that's happening in the class and how I'm dealing with it. And if you have any other way you feel that, you know, I could deal with it differently, just drop a message in the chat. Because after all, as educators, we constantly need each other's support. And teaching is not an easy thing. Teaching is becoming more and more challenging because the students are having more and more needs, and the needs are greater because there are far more things that these students are dealing with. They're dealing with a lot more than when we were in education ourselves, because they have social media, they have peer pressure, they've got, you know, competition, they've got so many other things. So as educators, we need to try to make this journey a little bit easier for them as much as we can. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening. Take care, stay blessed. And remember, you need to be grateful for where you are, and you need to meet your student where they are, because they may not know how they want you to support them. But if you find, we need to find the how. But if they show us what they need help on, we would find the how to do it, how to best support them. Thank you.